My name is Olivia, I'm 31 years old, and this is the story of how my in-laws tried to steal my house, and how I made sure they regretted it. I've been married to my husband Marcus for 4 years. When we got married, I owned a beautiful 3-bedroom house in a great neighborhood. I'd bought it 3 years before meeting Marcus, using my inheritance from my grandfather and my savings from working as a software engineer. The house was solely in my name. Marcus moved in after we got married, but legally, the house was mine. We had a prenup. My lawyer insisted on it to protect my assets. Marcus came from a very different background. His parents, Richard and Helen, had always struggled financially. They rented a small apartment and were constantly complaining about money. From the moment Marcus and I got engaged, Helen made comments about finally having a daughter with a good head on her shoulders and how lucky Marcus was. At first, I thought she was just being complimentary. I was wrong. About 6 months ago, Richard lost his job. Helen called Marcus in tears, saying they couldn't afford rent and might be evicted. Marcus, being the caring son he is, immediately suggested they move in with us temporarily. I hesitated. Our house was comfortable for 2 people, but adding 2 more, especially Richard and Helen, felt like a lot. But I could see the desperation in Marcus's eyes. Just for a few months, he promised, until my dad finds a new job. Okay, I agreed. A few months, but we need clear boundaries. Of course, Marcus said. Thank you, Liv. You're amazing. Richard and Helen moved in 2 weeks later. They took our guest room, and at first everything seemed fine. They were polite, helpful around the house, and Richard was apparently applying to jobs every day. But then things started to change. Helen began rearranging my kitchen without asking. This makes more sense, she'd say when I questioned her. She started doing my laundry and shrinking my clothes. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm just trying to help. Richard would sit in the living room all day watching TV at full volume. When I asked him to turn it down so I could work from home, he'd look offended. This is my relaxation time. Marcus would always take their side. They're going through a hard time, Liv. Just be patient. 3 months passed. Richard still hadn't found a job. He'd go to 1 interview a month at most, and Helen had stopped even pretending to look for work. They'd settled in like they owned the place. Then one evening, I came home from work early and overheard a conversation between Marcus and his parents in the kitchen. We need to talk to Olivia about making this arrangement permanent, Helen was saying. What do you mean permanent? Marcus asked. Well, we're comfortable here. The house is big enough. And honestly, Marcus, you're our son. This should be our home too. Mom, this is Olivia's house. It's your house too, Richard interrupted. You're married. What's hers is yours. It doesn't work that way. We have a prenup. That prenup is ridiculous, Helen snapped. You're her husband. You have rights. And we're your parents. We have a right to live here. I don't think Olivia will agree to this. Then we'll have to convince her. Or maybe it's time you stood up to your wife and made some decisions about your own home. I stood in the hallway, frozen. They were planning to take over my house. That night, I didn't say anything to Marcus. I needed to think. Over the next week, things escalated. Helen started referring to the house as our home in conversations. Richard began talking about how we should renovate the basement and add a deck. Then came the final straw. I came home from a weekend work trip to find that they'd moved all of my grandfather's furniture, antique pieces I treasured, out of the living room and into the garage. In their place was cheap furniture that Helen had bought. Surprise, Helen said when she saw my face. We redecorated. It looks so much more modern now, don't you think? I looked at Marcus. You let them do this? I didn't know they were moving your grandfather's stuff. I was at work. Where's the furniture now? In the garage. But Mom's right, Liv. It did look kind of old-fashioned. Get out. Everyone went silent. What? Marcus asked. Get out. All of you. Get out of my house. Olivia, you're being dramatic, Helen started. This is my house. I shouted, my name is on the deed.
I bought it with my money, and you, I pointed at Helen, just threw my grandfather's furniture into the garage like it was trash. We were trying to make the house nicer, Helen protested. You were trying to erase me from my own home. I want you out, both of you, by the end of the week. Richard stood up, his face red. You can't kick us out. We have tenant rights. You're not tenants. You're guests who have overstayed their welcome. And if you're not out by Friday, I'll start eviction proceedings. Marcus, Helen turned to her son, are you going to let her talk to us like this? Marcus looked torn. Liv, maybe we should all calm down. No, I'm done calming down. I'm done being patient. I'm done with them taking over my house. They need to leave. If they leave, I leave, Marcus said quietly. My heart stopped. What? They're my parents. I can't just throw them out on the street. They've had 4 months to find jobs and a place to live. They've done nothing but take over my house. It's our house. No, Marcus, it's not. It's my house. We have a prenup that clearly states that, and if you choose them over me, over our marriage, then you can all leave together. The room went silent. You're choosing a house over your marriage? Marcus asked. No, I'm choosing my boundaries and my self-respect over being manipulated by your parents. There's a difference. Marcus, Richard, and Helen moved out that weekend. Into a hotel first, then into Richard's brother's house. Marcus called me every day for a week, begging me to reconsider. I made a mistake. I should have stood up for you. Please, Liv, let me come home. Are your parents still living with your uncle? Yes, but then no. You made your choice. 2 weeks later, I filed for divorce. Marcus was shocked. He showed up at the house crying, begging me to go to counseling. I'll set boundaries with them. I'll tell them they can never live with us again. Marcus, you had 4 months to set boundaries. 4 months to stand up for me. You didn't. You chose them every time. Why would I believe you change now? Because I love you. Love isn't enough when it doesn't come with respect. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. Thanks to the prenup, the house remained entirely mine. Marcus got nothing. Not because I was vindictive, but because the prenup was clear about keeping our assets separate. Through mutual friends, I heard that Marcus moved back in with his parents at his uncle's house. Apparently, Richard still hasn't found a job. Helen complains constantly about the cramped living situation. Marcus tried one last time to reach out, 6 months after the divorce. I know I messed up. I know I should have chosen you. I miss you. I miss our home. It was never our home, Marcus. That was the problem. You never saw it as mine. You saw it as something your parents were entitled to. I see that now. I'm so sorry. I believe you, but some mistakes cost too much. A year has passed since they moved out. I had the locks changed. I moved my grandfather's furniture back into the living room where it belongs. I got rid of every piece of cheap furniture Helen bought. The house feels like mine again. I started dating someone new 6 months ago. His name is James. When I told him the story, he said, "Wow, your ex really chose his parents over you?" He did. I can't imagine doing that. Respecting your parents is one thing, but your spouse comes first. That's what I thought too. James has met my house, obviously. We've been dating for a while. He's never once suggested his family should move in. He's never once questioned that it's my house. He respects my space, my boundaries, and my history. Last month, I ran into Helen at the grocery store. She saw me and immediately looked away, but I walked up to her. "Hello, Helen." She looked uncomfortable. "Olivia, how are you?" "I'm great. How's the house hunt going?" Her face tightened. "We're still at Richard's brother's place. It's temporary." "Well, I hope you find something soon." As I walked away, I heard her mutter something under her breath. I didn't turn around. A few weeks ago, Marcus sent me one final text. "I saw you put the house on the market. Are you moving?" I wasn't selling the house. I have no idea where he got that idea. But I replied, "Even if I was, it wouldn't be your business. Please stop contacting me." He finally stopped. I learned some valuable lessons from this experience. Boundaries matter more than being nice. People will take as much as you let them take. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. A house is just a building, but your peace of mind is priceless. The right partner will protect what matters to you, not let their family destroy it. My in-laws thought they could bully me out of my own home. They thought I'd be too polite to fight back. They thought Marcus would choose them. They were right about one thing. Marcus did choose them. But what they didn't count on was that I'd choose myself. I chose my home, my boundaries, my self-respect, and I've never regretted it for a second. The house is still mine. My grandfather's furniture is still in the living room. My peace is still